What excites me the most about being a VA is probably being able to be cast as parts that I wouldn't physically be able to play in on camera. Like I went through a lot of weird stuff in on camera when I was growing up because like I I'm half Latino, and so when I would audition, they always have like a breakdown, and so the breakdowns would kind of it's like the character descriptions that would be sent to the agents, specifying what they were casting for, so that the agents could look through their roster of talent and say, okay, this person's going to audition for this person's going to audition for this, etc., etc. So on the breakdowns, um, they basically would specify the ethnicity they were looking for, but they would do it without necessarily doing it. They would actually just put like ethnic, and then for like the white roles, they were white roles. They would say all American. That would be their code for like we want like a blonde, blue-eyed kid for this, or somebody who just looks very white. That way they could say it without saying it. And I would get sent out on these roles. And the first question that I would get asked when I would go into the audition was, "What's your background?" And I'd be like, "Oh, great. I guess I'm not going to get this one." And that's pretty much that was the story of my my career growing up, was always not being Caucasian looking enough to play those roles. But when I would get sent out for Latino roles, um, they would look at me and they'd be like, "Are you Latino?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And they'd be like, "But you have blue eyes." And I'm like, "What does that even mean? Like, have you been anywhere?" Like, Latinos look all kinds of different ways, you know? Like, this is, so I wasn't, it sucked that there was always a gatekeeper. There was always a gatekeeper who was telling you that you weren't white enough, or you weren't Latino enough, or you weren't this enough, or you weren't that enough. And the one thing that I just liked about voiceover roles was like, can you sound like this character or not? And that's what really made me fall in love with it more, because there was so much less of that. Um, and my favorite role to date would be a toss up between Shiro and Spider Man, Peter Parker. Let's see.